What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. If you have yet to do so, please like, share, subscribe, follow on all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. It helps out the show, and it is greatly appreciated. Today's positive motivational message is live life moment to moment. Not day to day, not month to month, moment by moment, because there can be several moments within a single day. But when you're in the moment, enjoy it, take it in, be present within the moment. Moments may happen more periodically, maybe they're a little bit more spread out. And yes, there will be bad moments as well through our lives. We have to live through those as well. Because life is about good and bad, yin and yang. And once you're past those bad moments, more good ones will follow. There might be times where you go long stretches without having any moments, good or bad. And you feel like life isn't really happening very much. There's not a lot going on in life. So sometimes you have to create your moments. But either way, it's not about time. We already know that life isn't measured in time. It's measured in moments. You experience life through moments. And whether they're good or bad, you weather through, you experience them, and life is about experiences. So live your life moment to moment. Stand strong under the falling skies, 'cause in due time, the planets will align. And with that, let's get into today's episode. It's episode 251 of Life's a Garden. Stand strong under the falling sky, 'cause in due time the planets will align. And that's a little lick off my band Cutthroat's brand new song, Align, which, by the way, you can see live May 31st at Thirsty Street. Show starts at 7:30. We're playing alongside two of our favorite local bands, The Old Ones and Pressure Not. Both bands, by the way, have been featured here on this podcast. So if you want to know a little bit more about those guys, go check them out here. Go listen to those episodes. And then come down and enjoy the show. May 31st, a couple of weeks from now. Looking forward to that. That's our next big show. We got a few more to announce coming up here too. So we are waiting on official details for those. But we do have some other shows down the pipeline this summer. Very excited about that. So let me start off by saying my apologies for missing last week. Did not have a podcast last week. Listen, a lot of stuff going on, sports-wise. Had a lot of sports going on. UFC fights, Denver Nuggets. We had Mother's Day. So, really, there wasn't a whole lot of time to squeeze in the podcast. I thought about maybe doing it Sunday day to have the UFC fights to talk about, all this, that, and the other. It just didn't, or wait, the UFC fights were this past weekend. And see, there's just so much shit going on that I'm completely off. So it's just been a busy week, okay? And that's pretty much it. And to be fair, I did tell you guys that I was planning on maybe taking a break here and there. I figured it was just a busy week. We had just done episode 250. That's a big milestone. Why not take a break? I don't feel bad about it. If you guys were looking forward to an episode, I apologize. I did say that there might be breaks more frequently from time to time. And that's basically what that was. But I'm still here. We're still rolling. It's all good, baby. We're back. Brand new week. And I do want to mention next week, we could have a similar situation. I'm working on trying to get a guest here very soon to have for next week, because next weekend I'm going to be in Nashville. Finally headed back to Nashville. This was my Christmas present to my sister. And that's what we'll be doing next weekend. So, I'm getting back on Monday. Oh, also it's going to be Memorial Day weekend too. I will be getting back Monday next week, which, obviously is the day we post. If I don't get a podcast recorded sometime that week previous, then the podcast will probably come out Tuesday. I'll probably record on that Monday after I get back, and then I can tell you all about the trip. Otherwise, it'll probably be a guest episode next week. So one of the two. If there's not a podcast out on Monday, expect one on Tuesday. I'll record one on Monday, get all that out. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Nashville's going to be a great time. One thing I will say that I am not looking forward to in Nashville, have it being that I am in fact going with my sister. Can't wait for so many strangers to assume that my sister is my girlfriend, because we're only 2 years apart in age. This has been when you grow up with a sister, and anybody who has a sibling of the opposite sex that is close in their age can somewhat they've probably dealt with this at some point the other. You're in school or you're just playing on the playground, whatever. The amount of times people have mistaken us as a couple it's too many to count. And I don't know what it is about that happening that just is like a pet peeve of mine, I suppose. It's like, it's unsettling for me. Like, it's very uncomfortable when somebody says something like that. And to no fault of anybody's own, it's an honest mistake, right? Like, I'm not here to be mad at you, but whenever that mistake occurs, I find myself in a very uncomfortable, awkward situation. I don't know what it is about, like, you'd think I'd be used to it by now, but either way, it still makes me uncomfortable. And I don't know if anybody else can relate to that, or if it's just, you just brush it off like nothing. I can't say that I can. But I know for a fact that's probably going to happen. Or you see, here's the other thing. It's either going to be people are mistaking us as a couple, or there's going to be random dudes trying to hit on my sister in front of me, to which that also makes me uncomfortable. Now, I know she's a grown adult. I know she can handle herself. And if that were something that she was interested in participating in, I have no business intervening in that. Likewise, if a good-looking girl were to come up to me, I would hope that she wouldn't intervene. However, I'm sure she would equally to me, if that were happening to me, I'm sure she would also feel fairly uncomfortable. Because nobody wants to think of their siblings in that mindset. You don't want to look at your sibling and be like, oh yeah, they are dating or I don't even like using this terminology when referring to a relative, but engaging in relations. That's about as clean as I can say it. Nobody likes to think about their relatives in that way. So one of those two things is going to happen. So I am bound to find myself in a few awkward situations this weekend. But you know what really helps out with that? Ice cold Coors Light. I'm going to probably be needing plenty of this if I'm going to be dealing with that. And hopefully I don't end up in a fight because that's not something I'm interested in. I don't feel like I'm down there to have a good time, not wind up in jail. But either way, I'm sure it'll be a great time. And if I do get in a fight, you're gonna hear about it. So stay tuned for all that. Speaking of family, and same weekend, next weekend, my nephew, Ladarian, who has also been on the podcast here, twice, as a matter of fact, is graduating next weekend from high school. So congratulations to him on his graduation. I apologize for not being able to be present to attend because we will be out of town. We'll be in Nashville, and they live in Iowa. My mom, we bought my mom plane tickets, so she's going to be able to, she's going to be able to attend, which I'm happy for that. Glad somebody can be there. I do have a surprise for my nephew. I'm not going to spoil it here just in case he's listening, because I know sometimes he does. Either way, congratulations to him for graduating. Huge achievement for anybody to be able to graduate high school, especially today, like I feel like so many kids dropping out. But proud of you, proud of him for doing that. And even more so, I just learned like 5 minutes ago that he has committed to the University of Central Iowa I don't think it's on scholarship necessarily, but I think it's partial scholarship to play rugby for the University of Central Iowa. So proud. That's awesome. That's so awesome that this kid, everything he's been through, just to overcome all those odds, playing sports, and getting accepted to a college. That's damn impressive. So, cheers to my nephew, and hopefully you look forward to your surprise that I have for you. And now you're even more so getting it after I've learned that you're going to college. Like, you've earned every bit of it, so. What else? Of course, like I said, sports has been a big deal, dominating my world lately. Last podcast, not last week, but last podcast, I had talked about the Avalanche and the Nuggets. They were both in Game 7s. The Nuggets absolutely dominated, won their Game 7. Beautiful. However, the Colorado Avalanche choked with 13 minutes left in the game, up by 2 goals, choked the game away, and lost 4-2. Absolute heartbreaking. Mikko Rantanen, our old player who started this season with us, was traded to Carolina and then traded again to Dallas, got a hat trick on us, and has been playing out of his mind the rest of these playoffs. So that's a huge slap in the face. So super excited about the Nuggets moving on. Not so excited about the Avs. Super bummer. The Nuggets have now found themselves down 3-2 in the series against the Thunder. I think they've done very well against this Thunder team, who is ranked first in offense and first in defense. Most people had this series going 5, maybe 6. And as of recording this, Game 6 will be happening tonight. In a matter of a couple hours, Game 6 will be happening. So, extremely nervous and excited about that. By the time this episode comes out, the series will be over. Because I believe if we push it to Game 7, that will be on Sunday. Yes. It'll be on Sunday. So, pretty nervous about all. We're down 3-2. Backs against the wall. Win or go home. So when this podcast comes out, you will know whether it was the Denver Nuggets or the Oklahoma City Thunder, who have moved on. And let me just say this, regardless of the outcome, okay? Should the Denver Nuggets move on? Obviously, very excited. Well, it had to have been well earned if we came back down 3-2. Jokic had a really rough series, and if we were able to overcome that, I really have a hard time imagining us losing to anybody else. I'm hoping that we have an opportunity to play the Timberwolves, who have already advanced. I would love to see that rematch. I hate that we'd have to go 2 Game 7s, 2 back-to-back series Game 7s, and then play the Timberwolves. But that's a redemption game for us. And I would love to see that series. We'd get home court advantage if that were the case. But in the event that we lose, I will say congratulations to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Well-fought series. I'm just glad that we were able to compete and put up some effort against them. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a great player. I still obviously believe that Jokic is the true MVP. But Oklahoma City versus the Timberwolves, I can't hate that series. I think that would be a very exciting series to watch. Anthony Edwards is playing out of his mind. They just beat the Golden State Warriors in their series. They have done phenomenal things in Minnesota. Should the Nuggets not beat the Thunder, I will be rooting for the Minnesota Timberwolves because they're just a fun team to watch. As much of a rivalry as they are to us, I like that they're a small market team. I like that they have a young star. Not the biggest Anthony Edwards fan, but he's undeniable. He's undeniably good. So I think that would be a good series. And either way, no matter what, a young star is going to win a championship. I mean, the Knicks aren't in it yet. You know, they just lost a real bad one to the Celtics. The Celtics are still in this. Jason Tatum goes down with a torn Achilles. Huge blow to them. It's really tough to come back down 3-1. The Knicks are playing great ball. But even without Jason Tatum, this Celtics team is dangerous. So I'm not counting the Celtics out just yet. But either way, if the Knicks were to move on, that's a fun matchup with anybody. I like that what the Pacers are doing. You know, the Thunder are a young team. The Wolves have Anthony Edwards. And then, of course, the Nuggets. You know, I'm a Nuggets homer, so I'm ride or die for the Nuggets. No matter what happens, if the Nuggets are in it, that's my horse. That's who I'm pulling for. But let me say this too, and I know this has been kind of a talked about topic when it comes to the Nuggets. They've had some rough games against OKC, and granted, take nothing away from the talent that is on Oklahoma City. They're young, they're great on defense, they're great on offense. They have huge depth, so no knock against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I do think, objectively, they are playing extremely hard defense that is not being penalized. I think that is flustering specifically Nikola Jokic and the rest of the team. I think there's been a lot of no calls that should be calls, and that doesn't quite go both ways. More than anything, though, the scheduling of this series, I think, has absolutely been against the Denver Nuggets. It doesn't play in the Nuggets' favor. The Thunder, first of all, have home court advantage. They are the younger team, and they have us playing every other day. And then the other night, they had us play at 8 o'clock, and then 36 hours later, we're playing at 1:30. And that was, you could tell both teams were, A, exhausted, and B, just not prepared for that afternoon game. Because it wasn't it wasn't a normal game for either team. And you could tell they were both very, very off. So I think the scheduling of this series has been absolute dog shit. I think it's kind of unfair that so many of these other series have been able to have 2-day breaks in between. The only 2-day break the Nuggets would get is between Game 6 and 7 if we were to push it to Game 7. I like that scenario a little bit because it means we can blow our gas tank tonight in Game 6, attempt to push it to Game 7, then you get 2 days off, and you can just pedal to the metal again. Then again, you are playing against a very young team who is number 1 in offense and number 1 in defense. People are going to say they're playing the same schedule too. They're young and they have a lot of depth. It plays more in their favor than it does to ours. This is a no excuses league. I'm just saying that it seems kind of odd that they would schedule it the way they have. And that's just me. A completely unbiased fan take right there. So, I don't know if you guys know this or not, but I'm getting old. We're all getting old. We're all getting older by the minute, by the hour, by the moment. But lately, man, I have had a little bit of an old person moment. Okay, a little light has been shined on my age. Now I'm only 31. I'm still young as shit. Don't get me wrong. But I've heard that this shit starts happening when you start turning 30 and you do a blue-collar labor job like I do. It's bound to happen. Lately, I have been dealing with lower back issues. I said it. I'm old. And it's not, it's actually kind of not, it's not like direct pain to the back. You know, it's not like a sharp pain or anything like that. But I've been getting like tingling in my legs. Or like I'll get a random cramp or a random like soreness in my leg a little bit. Where it feels like it's tightening up. I'll get, like I said, tingling and numbness in the legs. And I was told that could be a cause of sciatica. Just lower back strain. Now, I don't know if that's muscular or actual, like, spinal. If it's like a bulging disc or if it's something like that. All I know is it's definitely the back. Because when I've like hung on the bar, I know that like decompresses the spine a little bit. I'll like roll around on my back and like loosen it up. I'll do a little bit of like stretching to get that loosened up on the lower back there. And it helps. It makes the pain go away. I already know I have upper shoulder issues and some strain in the muscles or the back there because I get some like sensations in my arms sometimes. Not quite as bad as the legs, but the arms can kind of get a little funky at times. First of all, I think I just need to see either a chiropractor or a masseuse. Isn't it? I was thinking about that the other day. I was actually thinking about going to get a massage while down in Nashville. I'm on vacation. Why not treat myself to a little relaxation, a little spa day? But no matter how you say it, no matter where you're going, no matter what it is, if you say, as a guy especially, I'm going to go get a massage, immediately the first thought is a jerk-off massage. It's sexual in some manner. Immediately, even when I know that my intention for the massage is actual, healing and to like loosen up the muscles and to like make myself feel better, when I know that that's the intent, just saying it out loud, like, yeah, I'm going to go get a massage, there's a sexual connotation involved in that. And that would be uncomfortable as hell. That would be an awkward situation. That is not what I want. And also, I don't know where to go. What if I accidentally go to one of those massage places and I didn't realize that that's what it was? You know? Especially in Nashville? I hope our hotel just has a spa in it, because that would feel way more like, okay, this is a safe place. You know, this isn't a jerk-off place. This isn't a sucky 5000 type place. But, I have thought about, I definitely need to do that. Some kind of physical therapy, because this back shit is, like I said, it's not sharp shooting pain yet, but I can only imagine, see right there when I turned my neck, felt something right in between my shoulder blades. Getting old, guys. I've heard all about it. I've heard all about it. And finally the time has come. I'm starting to get that fucking back pain. Boy, oh boy, am I excited. Can't wait for that. But like I said, like when I loosen it up, it really does help. It feels a lot better, but it doesn't last very long. You know, it lasts maybe a day, maybe a day and a half at most, before it's back to doing its normal shit. Legs start getting cramped up or tingling or whatever. And another thing, now this kind of goes away from the old stuff, me being old. I don't know if I'm sure we're 250 episodes in here. I'm sure at some point I have mentioned that I'm a hypochondriac. Anything out of the ordinary, anything that feels off slightly in the least, I freak out about. First of all, the sciatica, you know, the tingling in the legs. First of all, I'm like, am I having a stroke? And then I start thinking, oh, well, fuck, maybe I have, like, blood clots in my legs, because that's a real thing. And then I start thinking about blood clots, and then all of a sudden I get, like some kind of a pain in my head. And I'm thinking, oh my god, am I having an aneurysm? So this train of thought happens quite often with me. If I don't feel tip-top magoo, something's, like, I'm dying. I'm basically, I assume I'm dying, right? The other day, well, not just the other day, for about a week, I'd say, I was having just the slightest pain right here on my left side in my gut. Or no, sorry, my right side. Right here on my right side on my gut. Lower, like kind of by the belly button, a little bit over, and it was always that same spot. And first off, I was like, where the fuck's the liver? Right? Where's my liver at? Because that's certainly what it is, right? My liver's dying, and because I'm an alcoholic, and I'm not an alcoholic, but I do drink a lot, so I guess that's technically an alcoholic. But seriously, I'm thinking, oh my god, I'm dying of cirrhosis, you know? And then, you know, once I looked at a map, and right about there, that's where the appendix is. So I started looking up symptoms of appendicitis. And I had about, you know, it had like 8 symptoms, one of which was, you know, pain near the belly button. So I'm like, fucking check. Now, remember, this isn't sharp pain. This is just like a slight, like, kind of a cramping feeling, I guess. Not even noticeable enough to, like, make me keel over or nothing like that. It was just there. You know what I mean? Felt the best way I could describe it is if, like, you know when you have like a burp caught in your chest, that kind of like feeling where there's kind of a little bit of a something going on there, something like that. It was saying if you push down and then let go, that's when it hurts. That wasn't the case. It was talking about nausea. Didn't have any of that. Talking about diarrhea. Always have diarrhea, so don't know if that's part of it, but check that on the list. But again, here I am. I'm having slight pain Who knows what it is? It could just be, you know, it could be nothing. It could be gas. That was another one, was gas and bloating. I'm like, yeah, I'm always gassy and bloated. So that doesn't help me. But so far, from what I can tell, it's subsided, right? I had a little bit of a canker sore issue going on up here. But before that, it was like really tender. So I'm like, oh, here we go. I'm having an abscess tooth. This is, by the way, let me just mention, this is all within the last week. Simultaneously. The leg stuff, the gut thing, the tooth. What else? There was one other thing that I was... a while back, I had mentioned that I had this was actually a couple of years ago, now that I think about it. I had an ultrasound on my testicles because I was concerned I might have cancer. Because, you know, you do your checks. You check your shit out. And there seemed to have been, like, an abnormality on one of my testicles, to which my doctor also agreed. So we had that checked out. Turns out it was nothing. But I was also having, like some pain in my testicles. So first I'm like, I hope I don't have a fucking STD. Checked out for that. Every time I've tested for STDs, I've come out clean. So I'm like, why am I experiencing this pain? I hope I don't have testicular torsion. You know, that's a real thing too. But I get, apparently they said it's not abnormal to get blockage in your vas deferens. So another thing that was going on was I was having that pain again in my testicles. So regardless of knowing that that's a possibility of blockage in the vas deferens, I'm still freaking out. I'm like, do I have cancer now? It's 2 years later. Have I developed cancer now? Right? So all these different thoughts going through my head. I'm basically like, oh, I'm dying. Like, I'm in the middle of death. And who knows which one of these ailments is going to take me out first. I'm a hypochondriac. I freak out about everything. Which helps to, you know, I guess if that's the case, if you think you're constantly dying, then you can live in the moment a little bit more, because, hey, this might be the last moment. So now you can just live moment to moment, thinking that it's your last. And to be fair, it could be. Any moment could be your last. Do you ever drink like enough where, like, in the morning you get those heart palpitations? I know that's a real thing. Like, that's not like I'm the only one. I think I'm having a heart attack. Like, I'm like, oh shit. Dude, if I get any tightness in my chest whatsoever at any time, which, by the way, does not happen often, but if that ever does, I'm like, oh shit, like, I'm dying. I'm going to have a heart attack. I freak out instantly. If I get, like, a slight shortness of breath, or, you know, or if I'm like, if I breathe in and my rib hurts, like, I'm thinking, oh, I have fucking something's wrong with my lungs. Always dealing with shit like that. Fear. Speaking of fear, another thing I've been dealing with fairly recently, which is not something I haven't, you know, this is something I've dealt with fairly often, and I've talked about it here on the show as well. Money! I'm always afraid of going broke. Like, I stress out about money too much. It's not even that I'm afraid of going broke. It's that I just stress out about money. You know, I'll go out, I'll have a fun time, I'll wake up the next day, I'll look at my credit cards or my debit card statements, and I'm like, holy shit, what have you done, you idiot? How are you going to pay for rent? You know, it's not the case. Like, I have money. I'm good. But my fear is like sustaining it. Like I don't want to just blow through all my money, and then I start thinking like, fuck, dude, I got Nashville coming up. I'm gonna go to a football game. I'm going to Metallica in June. I got shit going on, guys. Stuff that costs money. So I'm freaking out all the time about money. Even though I've done so well to budget myself, and I've invested my money, I've helped to grow my money. But that fear is constantly in my head. That worry of what you're spending, how much you're spending, where are the next expenses coming. I budget my shit. I keep track of that, which is good. You should do that. But I shouldn't have to feel stressed out all the time about money. Like I feel like I should be able to just live comfortably. That was the whole thing when I came into some money, was that it was going to give me some comfort. Well, that hasn't stopped. I still stress out about it, even though I'm good. I work a great job that pays me well, so I'm bringing in good money. I should feel like financially secure, but I never do. And it dawned on me, the reason for that, I mean, it's obvious, really, but you don't think about it. I grew up poor. This is an absolute direct effect of growing up poor. Being like, I don't even know if I've ever shared this story here on the podcast before, but we were homeless at one point when I was a kid. Literally. Me, my brother, and my sister, and my grandmother, we were living like couch to couch at her friends' houses. Like we'd live 1 month at this friend. No, keep in mind, these people were taking in my grandmother and 3 young children to let live with them. God bless those people. You know what I'm saying? But they would take us in months, like a month at a time. We were just living on people's couches, or like I was sleeping on the floor. Several different people were just allowing us to stay at their house. Like I said, God bless them. We would get food from the Salvation Army all the time. Food boxes from the food bank. Clothes from St. Vincent de Paul. I remember that. Like, that is ingrained in my system, growing up poor. And I had it in my, I knew growing up that I was never going to allow myself to live like that. So any job I ever had, I made sure that I accumulated a nice nest egg. I always made sure I had a safe amount of money to where if something went wrong, if my car broke down, or if medical came up, any kind of emergency like issue came up, I always had a nest egg to make sure I was going to be okay and still have money after. I've always tried to budget on food and on entertainment, going to concerts, which is something I've always loved, obviously. Going to football games. Like, I've always tried to get the cheapest shit and just budget it out and be, fiscally responsible, right? Well, I come into this money, and it does allow me a little bit of financial freedom and a little bit of financial stress relief. So I think with all that, I kind of let myself off the leash a little bit. And I maybe had a little bit too much fun. I maybe just was a little bit too loose with my wallet. And now it's stressing me out. Now, don't get me wrong, I haven't burned through a shit ton of that as it is. But at the rate that I'm going, it eventually will. You know what I'm saying? I live a pretty modest life as it is, right? I don't have a lot of expenses, so I do have the availability to have trips like this. But at some point, you know, I kind of got to put it in check. And what needs to happen is finding a balance. I need to have a balance of being able to feel financially free, but also, you know, within reason, budgeting. And I think that's where I need to relieve the stress. When you have a poor man's mentality, when you grew up poor, you know, that poor man's mentality, it doesn't go away. You always remember what it was like to be broke. You can't just go hog wild out there when you get a little bit of money. It can be easier when you know you have it, but the last thing you want to do is lose it. Like, you want to hold on to it forever and make sure. But that's the other thing, you know. I don't want to die with this money. What good is that? I want to live moment to moment. I want to create moments. I want to go on trips. I want to go to concerts. I want to go to football games with friends and family. I want to make these moments. And that costs money. And with me so goddamn afraid of dying every goddamn second, what's holding me back? Like, yeah, I don't want to be stupid about it. I don't want to just nose down, let's go on 8 different trips in 1 year and just blow all this money. That's not exactly what I had in mind. But I shouldn't be afraid to do things like that. I shouldn't hold myself back and stress myself out about doing these fun things. Because that's what we live for, is to have fun and to do great things and to have experiences. What is that money worth if I die and it's just there, you know? And I was just being a little bitch about it and I didn't, you know, use it for fun stuff. Hell, if I died broke, at least I had fun. I made something with that. I did something with that. It's all about balance, really. That poor man's mentality, man, trying to kick it. It's really hard. I'm 31 years old. I got back pain. I'm getting old. And it still hasn't seeped out of me. Like, we're talking that was 20 years ago that we were going through that. You know what I mean? Like, in 20 years, it hasn't gone away. So, I don't know if it ever does go away. Either way, I need to just know that it's okay to spend a little money and have, for the sake of having fun. For the sake of others having fun. You know what I mean? So, just all the stresses, you know what I mean? And hey, you know what? Maybe my financial stress and my illness, you know, my hypochondriac stress, that's probably why I have fucking back pain. So it's all just a vicious cycle. Now I got back pain because I'm stressing myself out about money. You know what I'm saying? Ain't good. No good. Can't have it. Don't want it. So let's go get a massage in Nashville. A little, you know, I'll go get a little, I'll relax a little bit, have a couple beverages, listen to some country music, and just chill out. And maybe all that stress just washes away. Here's hoping. Did you guys all see the video of that woman who was having road rage? And in her road rage, decided to shit all over her car. Oh, that's right. You heard it correctly. I didn't see the video I saw. It was it had it blurred out. But even with the blur, oh, you could tell that was a projectile diarrhea poop. That chick was spraying mud. Like, what an odd... I mean, what goes through somebody's mind when they decide that that's how they're going to retaliate in a road rage incident? Somebody was filming it from a distance. This woman gets out of her car, like, calmly walks up to the car that she's having an issue with, lifts up her skirt, and just sprays mud. Like projectile. Honestly, I've never thought about the force that it would take to bend over and just spray paint a car. Like, that is just unbelievable. The sheer pressure behind that. And she was like, it was a clean shit. And I was like, no. Lady, no, that was definitely not. Could you imagine? Put yourself in the situation of the person whose car got shit on. Imagine you're, flipping somebody off, hollering at them for whatever. You're in a road rage incident. Lady gets out, walks up, and just shits on your car. A lady! I don't even know how I would react. I'd just be like, what nightmare is this? What is happening right now? This is unbelievable. I had a little bit of an incident. There was a little bit of an incident downtown just this weekend with a lady. So I'm sitting at the Crystal, right? It's middle of the day. Probably like 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that. I'm just sitting there. I just got down there. This girl walks in. Looks like normal. Just dressed fine. Just nothing out of the ordinary. Has a purse on her, Short haircut. That was about the only thing that was a little bit off. Was her hair was like buzzed. It was like a buzz cut. But other than that, she looked well put together and fine. She comes up to the bar, asks my cousin Aaron, did I leave my ID here? And he goes, we haven't had anything turned in, so I don't think you left it here. And she just goes, I lost my card. And immediately I'm getting a weird vibe. Like, I'm like, something's off. And then she goes, I lost my cards. And so I stand up and start walking away because it's happening right next to me. And I'm like, I don't really want to be a part of this. I don't want to be in this vicinity. Guy comes running in from across the street, is like, hey, we just kicked her out of this place, or out of our shop. Don't let her in. She's nuts. So she starts walking out. She's still like crying about her cards. She starts trying to leave. The guy's blocking the door for some fucking reason. And she's like, get out of my fucking way! And starts just punching at him. Starts walking down the street, knocking over signs, like busting planters. And she's just like causing havoc. She's like Godzilla running around downtown. And I'm like, what the fuck was that? About 5 minutes later, she comes back. You could hear her screaming outside. Comes back in. Same shit. Where's my cards? Aaron, shuffles her out the door. Cops finally show up. Arrest her. I was walking. I went outside, and I just hear her, a block away, like, I didn't do anything wrong. 2 cops are carrying her. She's dragging her feet. She's trying to dead weight them. They toss her in the back of the cop car. I'm like, thank God. Her reign of terror is over. 2 hours later, I'm sitting at Hooligans, getting ready to watch the UFC fights. Everybody in the bar, she had gone down to Hooligans. She'd tried the same shit in every bar. She'd been kicked out of all the bars. Everybody had heard about her, right? And I told the guy next to me, hey, I was telling him all about this. She walks in and sits down at the bar, looks at my buddy, and he's like, how's it going? She's like, oh, it's good. And asks for a beer. Happened to be a beer they were out of. She gets up, walks away, no incident. And I nudge the guy. I'm like, dude, that's the chick I was just telling you about. That's the crazy chick. She just left. No incident. So either, first of all, why was she free to go instantly? But also, what's the deal? Like, what's going on here? Either she's strung out on pills or some kind of drugs, having some kind of episode, or she's a little touched in the head. She got some mental problems going on, which, being that she's a woman, would make sense. Now, was this heightened on a heightened level of a crazy chick? Yeah. I mean, we already know all chicks are crazy, but this takes the cake. This chick was queen crazy. Unless it's drugs. If it's drugs, it's a problem. She probably should get checked out for that. If you're running around knocking shit over and terrorizing all of downtown, by the way, probably weighed 80 pounds soaking wet, tiny little girl. Like, would have never, I never had that on my bingo board. Let me just tell you that. That morning, was not expecting to see that happen. So, she needs she needs God in her life. She needs some religion. Ooh, great transition, speaking of religion. We have a brand new pope. A brand new pope who is the first American pope of all time. How do you like that? How about that, Canada? Suck it. First American pope, Pope Leo the 14th, which is amazing because I happen to be a Leo. Love that. First of all, I did not realize that popes, I mean, I get it now, like it makes sense. I can't believe it never dawned on me. But that popes choose their name. It's like a title. They title themselves. I didn't know they did it themselves. I thought maybe the title was bestowed upon them, but it sounds like they get to choose their own name. Also, to be like Pope the 14th? You chose the 14th? What? I don't get that at all. But, whatever. Because there was Pope Francis, and obviously he's the first of his name. King of the Andals. Yeah, I didn't really realize that, but that was a thing. So, cool. Pope Leo the 14th from Chicago, Illinois. Of course, the running joke is, duh, Pope. But I more like the idea of him being like, in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, Chicago, go Sox, go Cubs. Obviously that's not how he talks. I think he speaks like 5 different languages. It's pretty badass. And see, from what I can see, you don't get elected Pope and be a bad dude. Also, was one of the fastest conclaves ever. Took 2 days. So that's pretty cool. American Pope, quickest to the Iron Throne. Can't hate on that. Yeah, that's about it. That's pretty much all I gotta say, man. I'm pretty much caught up on everything. Oh, going to Caesar this weekend. Sold out show. I scored me a ticket. That's pretty exciting. That was another thing, is I would have recorded this a little bit after those basketball games so that I could talk about them. But it's about the only time I had to do it. So, because it's going to be another busy weekend. And I didn't want to leave you hanging 2 weeks in a row. Possibly 3 weeks in a row with Nashville coming up next week. So, had to get one through. Had to get one out. So, here it is. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It was a fun time. Can't wait for Nashville next week. Gonna be awesome. Congratulations again to my nephew on graduating and signing a rugby deal with a college, accepting a college offer. Very awesome. What else? What else am I missing? Hey, don't freak out. No, let's stress out a little bit less. Live moment to moment. Live your life moment to moment. It's all going to be okay. In due time, the planets will align. May 31st, Thirsty Street. There's a moment for you. Come hang out, enjoy a great musical moment with Cutthroat. No, for real. Live moment to moment. It's the way to live. Not day to day, not minute by minute, moment by moment. Create those moments. If you're not having moments, you got to create them. Sometimes moments come naturally. Sometimes you got to create them. But either way, you live them right, and you live them to the fullest. Because life's a garden. Dig it.
Just gotta keep on going.